The Strangers Prey at Night is directed by Johannes Roberts, the same man behind 47 Meters Down, and he has returned to the horror genre to deliver a sequel to the 2008 cult slasher film, The Strangers. This film follows a family consisting of a mother and a father with their son and daughter, and they go off to this trailer park to visit their family, and it is at this trailer park where they are greeted by the strangers, who of course try to kill them. Myself personally, I am a reasonably big fan of the first Strangers film. I haven't seen it in years, but what I remember of it, I do seem to like. I think with that film, there are a lot of interesting creative decisions, and I think that they do a lot of unique things with the typical slasher format. Unfortunately, with The Strangers Prey at Night, that could not be further from the truth, because this is one of probably the most cliche horror films that I have ever seen. This film rarely deviates from the tried and true horror tropes, and it is almost as if it's trying to play horror movie bingo. Like, if you were to list off all of the typical horror movie cliches, I would assume that this movie checks off about probably like 60% of them. One of the biggest problems that I had with 47 Meters Down is the protagonists in that film are inexcusably stupid. So much so that it makes it really difficult to care for these characters, because at every single turn they make these ridiculously idiotic decisions that it just kind of renders them unlikable. And with this film, that same issue is apparent. These characters are so stupid. They make choices throughout this movie like, oh, we're climbing out of a window to get away from the bad guy. Let's yell as loudly as possible so they know exactly where we're at. Or, hey, I hit you one time and you're on the ground. That means that you're probably dead. Let me get really super close to your face to investigate that, instead of just, I don't know, hitting you another time. Now, with that being said, I probably would have let all of that slide if they were doing it on purpose. If they were trying to make this purposefully cheesy 80s throwback, almost like a grindhouse film, as a tip of the hat to some of these very corny 80s slasher films, I probably would have really liked this movie. And it's weird because there are moments in this movie where they're trying to do that, I think. They would have these camera techniques that are similar to what they would do with the 80s. For example, there are a lot of really close zooms to some of the character reactions in this film. And the soundtrack of this movie mostly consists of this 80s synth pop. And I think if they were going for this retro vibe, they just didn't really follow through with it. Not in a way that made it look like what they were doing was intentionally corny. And what's odd is there are scenes in this movie that are paying homage to other horror films. Like, one scene, an example, is a straight up ripoff of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so much so that when the scene concluded, I was just like, did they really just do that? It is pretty much plagiarism. I think this movie really missed the mark. The first Stranger film is this very subtle and unnerving thriller, but with this film, it turns these people into essentially Jason Voorhees, where you can actually blow them up or set them on fire or shoot them, and somehow they are still alive. Which, if that's the direction that they were trying to go in, I would have been 100% on board, but the attempts that they do have are pretty pathetic, to say the least. So what you end up with is this incredibly cliche film following these characters that are so aggressively moronic that it's really hard to root for them at all. And in the end, I started rooting for the killers to murder them and put me out of my misery. So did you guys see The Strangers Prey at Night? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you liked today's video. And if you did, you can click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel to see more movie reviews and movie related things. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.